Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a kind-hearted farmer named Ben. Farmer Ben had a small but beautiful farm where he grew all kinds of fruits and vegetables. Every morning, he would wake up before the sun and tend to his crops with great care. One day, a sneaky thief named Tim crept into the village. Tim had heard about Farmer Ben's delicious crops and decided to steal some for himself. Late at night, when everyone was asleep, Tim snuck into the farm and began to fill his sack with juicy apples, plump tomatoes, and crisp carrots. But Farmer Ben wasn't an ordinary farmer. He was wise and had noticed some of his crops disappearing. So, that night, he stayed awake and watched over his farm. As Tim was busy picking the vegetables, Farmer Ben quietly approached him. "Who's there?" Farmer Ben called out softly. Startled, Tim dropped his sack and tried to run away, but his foot got tangled in a vine. He fell to the ground, scared and ashamed. Farmer Ben helped Tim up and looked at him with kind eyes. "Why are you stealing my crops?" he asked. Tim hung his head. "I'm sorry," he mumbled. "I have no money and no food. I didn't know what else to do." Farmer Ben thought for a moment. "Stealing is wrong, Tim. But I can see that you're hungry and in need. How about this, instead of stealing, why don't you work on my farm with me? I could use an extra hand, and in return, you can take home all the fruits and vegetables you need." Tim couldn't believe his ears. "You would do that for me?" he asked, his eyes wide with surprise. Farmer Ben smiled. "Everyone deserves a chance to make things right. Let's work together." From that day on, Tim became Farmer Ben's helper. He worked hard on the farm, and the crops grew even more plentiful. The two became good friends, and Tim learned that honest work brings more happiness than stealing ever could. And so, the farm flourished, and Tim never had to steal again. The village admired Farmer Ben's kindness and Tim's change of heart. They all lived happily ever after, knowing that a little kindness can turn even the darkest night into a bright new day.